Alright, so for this video, I'm going to be using IntelliJ as the IDE of choice. If you want to learn about IntelliJ, go ahead and check my YouTube video where I teach you how to download and install IntelliJ for Java developers. So IntelliJ is by far the best IDE out there, and I highly recommend you. So once you are set up with IntelliJ or any other IDE, go ahead and open up the demo folder that we've just downloaded. So I'm going to click on open. And then navigate to desktop, open up demo, and then open this pom.xml. And then as project. Now just give it a second. And IntelliJ is actually downloading all the dependencies for this project. So as you can see, that was quite fast. So let me just quickly walk you through this project structure. But pretty much if you've taken my course on Spring Boot Essentials, this should be very familiar. So if you open up demo, or this should be different depending on the name that you chose when setting up the metadata. So in my case, it's demo. So for you, it might be different. So inside of this demo folder right here, you can see that we have a couple of folders and files. So let me quickly explain what some of these mean. So pom.xml, so if I open that up, you can see that this is the metadata for this project. So it includes, for example, the group ID, so com.amigos code, artifact, so this is what we chose. And then you can see the name is demo, and then some description for the project. So this was the actual Java version. In my case, it's 11 because I've already installed. But if you have, for example, 8 or 12, you can go ahead and change this to the desired Java version. So also right here, you can see that the actual Spring Boot version is 2.1.3.release. So if you want to change again the actual version, go ahead and change and pick a specific version, but make sure that you don't pick anything below 2.0. So also you can see that we have this section right here called dependencies. So these are all the dependencies that we picked from the Spring Initializer website. So if I quickly show you, so remember, so these are the dependencies: web, JDBC, Postgres, and Flyway. So if I go back, you can see that we have JDBC, Starter Web, Flyway, and also Postgres. And you might have noticed that we have this dependency called Starter Test, and by default Spring Boot ships with this dependency for us to write integration tests and also unit tests. And this is pretty much about the pom.xml. So if I close this, you can see that we have mvnw .cmd, and basically these two files allows you to use Maven without you having to install it. So that's all it means. So don't worry about this for now. It's not important. So then you see that I've got, for example, this key ignore. So this is like ignoring some files, nothing related to you. So the next thing is, if I open up the source folder, so inside the source, I've got main and test. Test is where all the test files or classes should be. So if I open this demo application.tests, you can see that right here, this is an empty test. So basically, if you have unit tests as well as integration tests, this is where you would place them. So if I close this, and if I now open main, you can see that inside of main, you have Java and resources. So let me go ahead and open up Java. So Java, you see that we have demo application, and this is the main class for a Spring Boot application. So every Spring Boot application looks like this. You have this annotation at Spring Boot application, and then this is how you pretty much just run it. You simply say Spring Boot application.run, you pass your main class and some arguments if you have any. But basically this annotation is what does the actual magic behind the scenes, and pretty much when you run this, you should see your web server up and running. But I'm going to show you that in a second. Next, open up the resources folder, and right here you can see that we have db.migration. This is where we're going to place some database migrations for Flyway. So I'm going to explain this later down this course, but basically we're going to be adding some SQL files in it. Then you have this folder called static. So this is mainly for the static assets for our web application that we're going to create. So mainly index.html and some JavaScript, also some CSS. So when we minify things, so this is where everything will be in. Then you also have templates. So we're not going to do anything with templates for this course, but this is, for example, for using with template engines such as Mustache. But for this course, we're not going to need it because we're going to use React.js, and therefore there's no need for any template engine. So you can go ahead and delete this. So in fact, let me go ahead and delete it so we don't need it. And finally, you can see that we have applications.properties. And this is where all the configuration properties will be in. So the cool thing about applications.properties is that we can have different properties for different environments in one single place. But I'm going to show you exactly how to use this later down this course. And to be honest, this is it. So if you have any questions on the file structure, go ahead and drop me a message. Otherwise, let's move on.